We are pleased to be joined by, look at that smiling face. See if he's smiling after the interview. He's Jay Galbraith. He's a teacher at Newark Collegiate Academy. By the way, what is that? It's a charter school, right?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Part of a larger?
Yep, part of KIPP, New Jersey.
Okay, good stuff. You're a science teacher. Mm-hmm. You admit this?
I do admit this, yes.
You're from Chatham, New Jersey.
I am.
And how do we get you in Newark?
So I decided to go after college to do a program called Teach for America, so I could teach for a few years in Newark.
Did Wendy Kopp start that?
That is, yeah, that's Wendy Kopp. Mm-hmm.
Before your time?
Well before my time, yeah, when I was in
Not before
school.
mine, yeah, I remember.
Okay. Sorry.
She's great. Okay, so Teach for America.
Yeah, I did Teach for America.
You're only supposed to do a couple of years. What happened?
Yeah, I was going to go to medical school. That was my original plan, and this was going to be sort of a couple years for me to do something else and maybe study for my MCATs. But I started really liking it, and so I decided to stay. And this is now year 7 for me.
Talk about the kinds of things you're doing with these students that are really exciting you and making a difference for these kids.
Well, what we started this year, we started a class called Introduction to Engineering, which we're using for our freshman students, so our new to high school, trying to get them engaged in science and engineering. And one of the big projects we've been successful with is 3D printing.
3D printing?
Yes. And so we've actually just started doing this. We've essentially given the kids some real-world problems and had them create their own solutions using 3D printing, actually creating the devices and getting to test them.
So we're looking at some video right now. Mm-hmm. This is what?
Yeah, so this is the what our student Janaya there, this is the creation phase. So this is her original design on a computer using software called CAD software, computer-aided design. She was actually able to create the device that they wanted to make. And then, of course, once she's done with that, we then send it to the 3D printer and actually build it.
That's fascinating. And these kids are how old?
About 14, 15 years old.
Introduction to engineering? Mm-hmm. And is this brand new for these kids?
For the most part, yeah. They've done maybe small engineering projects, but they've never used, to this extent, used the computer technology and gotten to use this sort of equipment.
So what is it teaching them beyond? Hold on, I want to see what comes out of this.
Yeah, so this right here is actually showing what actually my first example I wanted to show, showing the process of actually building a 3D object.
They're building a 3D object?
Yeah, so this
which is what you're holding in your hand. Wait
exactly.
a minute, I want to see what comes out of this.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on, big reveal. You better show it now.
Yeah. So what we have here, this is a...
That's what came out of that?
That's what came out of that, yeah. So this is a bottle cap holder. So one of the problems we gave to our kids, we were noticing in our school that kids were leaving their plastic bottles all over the place.
I'm sorry, could you come over to my house?
Yes, it's similar
driving
issue.
Me crazy. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're all over the place. It's a huge source of waste and
yes.
a mess for teachers.
Environmental problem.
Exactly, and so we tasked some of the children with the idea of how are you going to keep these bottles with you so you stop losing them. And a lot of kids came up with ideas of kind of big holders, big kind of awkward cases. Right. But this group of students actually decided to make something that would hold on to the actual cap. So you can see they built this green part here.
So how do you open it up?
And it actually screws right onto the cap. So you can replace, instead of your normal tape bottle, you screw it right on there. And now you can attach it to a backpack, anything like that.
Hold on. So,
now be gentle. I just super glued it this morning. This was my second version.
So hold on. So you don't need all those tops.
Exactly. Yeah, and this is going to help you keep. You're not going to lose it. You don't need a special holder for it. Yeah.
The advantages of this and the impact it could potentially have on the environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, fewer bottles being thrown away or lost, and less waste for teachers to have to deal with.
Now, talk about the impact it has had on your students when they know that they have been involved in creating something like this.
Yeah. I think there's a real magic to having kids involved in an authentic problem. We can give kids a lot of high and mighty science projects, but when you give something really real to students, something really authentic that they can grasp, they get extremely engaged in it. And so when kids understand this problem, and so they love being able to actually solve it, actually do something with it. And that's really the point of the class. It's not necessarily that every kid's going to come out of there loving engineering and mastering 3D printing. It's really that they're coming out of that class understanding problem solving and being excited about the world of technology.
What about teamwork?
Absolutely, and that's a big part of it. They had to get used to the idea that they're working in groups of 3 or 4, and one idea might not work. People might conflict, and that's huge.
You know what else is interesting is, unless I'm wrong about how you're doing this, the economics of this, it's not super expensive.
No, there's an initial upfront cost. So the 3D printers themselves cost about $3,000. We were able to get funding and raise some money to get about 2 of them. But once you start building it, this particular one only costs about 60 cents to produce.
So here's the thing. Some of these kids will go into engineering. They will go into science.
Yes.
They will be fascinated by technology.
Hopefully.
And they might otherwise not have any interest because they might not have that opportunity.
And that's big. And I think that it's common to try to introduce these sort of projects as maybe an extracurricular, something after school for some kids who are already interested. But we wanted every single one of our students to try this out, because I know the hardcore nerds are already going to want to get into 3D printing. I wanted all the kids to realize how interesting this can be.
Is this art?
I think there's an aspect that overlaps with art. There is a creativity and elegance to what they're building, because the kids don't just want to build something that works. They have a real aesthetic eye, and they want to make things that are looking good. And so I think there is a lot of art there. And I think there's possibilities for our art teachers and art classes to use the same technology.
What kind of reaction have you gotten? I'm curious about this, because you went into this as a Teach for America scholar, student, someone who's a pretty special person. What kind of reaction have you gotten from your friends, because they know you're all in now?
A mixed reaction. And I think
2 seconds left, go ahead.
Oh yeah, it's interesting because, education is so important, and yet when people choose to get involved in education and they turn down careers in medicine or business, it's really surprising to people.
You turned down a lot of money.
I think potentially, yeah, maybe.
Well, what do you mean? You know you are.
Yeah, I mean, teaching is not, you don't teach for the money.
Does that
absolutely.
bother you that you're turning down money?
I don't think so, no, because this job is extremely rewarding, I think.
How rewarding?
Extremely rewarding. I mean, you get to walk away, especially with projects like this, and you realize that kids, you've actually had an impact, and that's... Yeah.
You know you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope so.
They tell you, too.
They don't always tell you. Teenagers don't always express that very clearly, but yeah, I think I am, yeah.
Tell you what, we are so glad that you decided to do what you were doing. We have no idea the impact that you're going to have. You're having and you continue to have, but a lot of people are proud of you watching you right now. You're a role model. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Well done.
Thank you.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the CAUCUS Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. And by the Newark Museum, in cooperation with NJTV and 13 for WNET. Funding for this special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato at Newark Museum has been provided by Bank of America, PSE&G, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, the Fidelco Group, Johnson & Johnson, Prudential Financial's Global Communications Department, and by Barnabas Health. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.